Hello and welcome back to the next video in our series on the QNAP QTS5 update. This is a series of videos where I talk you guys through how to set up your NAS right for the very first time. In today's video we're going to look at Plex Media Server. I'm going to show you how to set up your NAS, install the application and prepare Plex Media Server so you can enjoy all of your movies, box sets and more from your QNAP NAS in QTS5. Now do bear in mind this is part 6 or 7 in this series so far, and consequently a lot of the steps that I'm going to go through today I'm kind of going to assume you already know. I'm going to show them a little, but I do strongly recommend you've checked out some of the other parts in this series so you know exactly how to use your NAS. Otherwise I'll walk you through the steps and hopefully you'll understand everything I'm talking about. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you've got the media that you want in your Plex Media Server NAS onto this NAS. So you're going to need to do one of two things. First, you're going to have to choose one of the shared folders that already exists on your NAS. These are the folders which can be accessed remotely, either via the local area network or by other applications. Alternatively, you can go ahead and create a new shared folder for all of your media to live. And again, if you create that shared folder, it's fairly straightforward and it's something we've talked about in other videos. Otherwise, you can use the existing folders that the NAS has created throughout the course of the setup and initialization of the NAS and place your media there. In my case, I created a new shared folder here. I then created a folder called Plex Test Media, and then created multiple folders for each kind of media, from movies to videos to photos to music and TV shows and more. Once you've created all of those folders, make sure you move all the relevant media that you want in your Plex Media Server into this. Now bear in mind, you don't have to do this just once. You can add media throughout the entire life cycle of your QNAP NAS with QTS5, but in the case of Plex Media Server, it's very useful to have at least one piece of media in each of the folders you want to use, which will make sense a little later on during the installation. Another thing to bear in mind is you don't need to put all of the movies or TV shows or whatever loose. It's absolutely fine to keep them in their own individual folders, as Plex will be able to see this, as well as use a lot of the structure of the media in these folders to create your far more appealing graphical user interface in Plex, visible from your mobile phone, from your Amazon Fire Stick, your PlayStation, your Xbox, your iPhone, you name it, it'll be possible. So once you've uploaded all the media into this folder, do make sure by going into the control panel that the account you're going to be utilizing for this can actually access those folders. So go ahead and go either into the shared folders menu or the users menu. If you go into the users menu, make sure you select the account that you're going to be utilizing during this setup. In my case, I'm using this secondary admin account, but you look for your account on here. From there, look at the right hand side and you'll see options for folder permissions and application permissions. Make sure that in terms of folder permissions, you've got either read-only or read and write access to where that media lives. Otherwise, you won't be able to access these folders when you're setting up Plex. Additionally, make sure that this account actually has access to the Plex Media Server application. As you add more and more apps, they will appear on this list, and some applications appear and others don't. So do make sure if Plex is listed on here, which it can do depending on the file system you use, that you've got a tick granted next to it that you have access. Once you've done this, head into the Application Center and either in the spyglass at the top right of the screen, type Plex and search for it there. Alternatively, select the Entertainment option in the categories and you'll find Plex Media Server here. Again, once you're ready, where this says Open, yours will say Install. So go ahead and click Install. If it asks you to select a particular storage volume to install it in, if you've created multiple storage volumes, I strongly recommend that you choose the one that also has the media that you're choosing to use today, as it will limit a lot of cross storage traffic. Once you've installed Plex Media Server there, and again this is a 2-click operation that installs, you can head back onto the desktop here and find Plex Media Server. I've already found it and installed it inside its own private folder here, but yours will almost certainly be here on the main desktop. Alternatively, you can open the menu on the side and find Plex Media Server there under P. Then go ahead and click Plex Media Server, where you will be invited to either log in with your existing Plex information, or you can go ahead and create a brand new Plex account. It's all up to you which way you want to do it. If you have an existing Plex Media Server account, go in and select the service or the generic email option that you've got. Alternatively, if you don't have an existing Plex account, just choose the provider or the option that you want to use to create your account, and an option will appear. Go ahead and create a completely free Plex account, or use your existing one now. I've now logged in to the Google account associated with the YouTube Plex account that we've used many times in the past. Now the system is going to be connecting that account with your Plex Media Server NAS. The next screen can take upwards of a few minutes to go through, or it can be done quite quickly. If you want to skip this step or allow it to happen in the background, simply click the URL at the top and refresh that page by clicking enter in the URL. You'll now notice that the screen has moved on to the next phase, where it will ask you to name the server, connect it with your account, and start adding media libraries. Go ahead and click Got It. The name of your NAS is how this particular network attached storage device will appear to you on Plex Media Server when connecting via your phone, your tablet, or any kind of media device. You can leave it at the general name that your NAS already has, or you can rename it here. Additionally, if you are intending to access your Plex Media Server remotely via the internet, say if you're going to be in a coffee shop, a hotel or more, go ahead and make sure you put a tick in this box here, as this will allow Plex.tv, the internet server that isn't your own, to be able to communicate with the NAS. And moving forward, if you are accessing your Plex Media Server NAS remotely via the internet, you will connect with Plex.tv, who will then connect with your NAS. Once you're ready, click Next. On the next screen, we're preparing to add the media libraries onto our Plex Media Server account. This is going to be where those individual folders that we uploaded our data onto prior to this installation will be scraped, both for metadata and to create the libraries while they're being indexed. So first we're going to add a movie library. Go ahead and click Add Library. From there, select Films. After that, select Add Folder and browse for Media Folder. Depending on your own setup on the NAS, the folders that are shown to you on screen will differ. And again, depending on the number of volumes that you've created and the way you've structured your NAS, what you see here will differ. So for example, in here, I've got my Plex Media Server located in this folder. I can go ahead and find my Movies folder here. But once again, do remember that your folder layout may well be different, so do take note of whichever folder you've put your media into during the first steps of this installation. Additionally, you don't need to select individual folders for movies or box sets. Just select the main parent folder that they're all inside, and Plex will go through this folder on its own. Click Add, and then after that, select Advanced. And this is where you can select a lot of the graphical user interface and design of Plex around your media, whether it's the thumbnails, the descriptions, the reviews, and where metadata is sourced. Do bear in mind, some of the more advanced options are behind the premium service from Plex known as Plex Pass, which you will have to pay a monthly or annual or lifetime subscription for. When you're ready, select Add Library. Repeat these steps if you want to go ahead and add other media types, such as box sets. In my case, I've got box sets in a completely separate folder in the Plex Media Server library there called TV Shows. Go ahead and click Add. Then, in the Advanced tab, you can see different options have appeared which will allow you to create a much better Plex Media Server NAS to be utilised for your box sets. Then click Add Library. You can add other services such as music, which again, if you do have music on the NAS, I recommend adding that to your multimedia server and therefore start enjoying that within Plex, following all the same steps, and again with other library options too. I'm adding these 3 libraries, and from there I click Next. You will then be invited to download Plex apps. These are the client applications that you need to install on your PlayStation, your Fire Stick, your Roku box, your mobile phone or whatever in order to communicate with Plex and playback your files. However, it's worth bearing in mind that in most cases you won't need to use this service, as most of these devices I've spoken about have their own app sensors where you can download them from those devices. If not, you'll be able to find it here in the Plex Apps tab, where if you click it, it opens a new tab for you to download those different client apps. But for now, click Done. As it loads up the user interface of Plex, you may not recognise any of the media. That's because all of this media is from online sources connected with Plex, such as TV channels and more. This will differ depending on your own Plex Media Server account. If you've got multiple NASs connected with your Plex Media Server account, they will be listed on the left. Otherwise, scroll to the bottom and select the tab marked More. This will give a much clearer representation of the different NAS servers if you have more than one listed that are connected. As you can see here, there is our NAS right there. If we click on that name, here is the NAS data and movies that we've installed on this Plex Media server. So for example, if we select Hateful Eight, we can see that Plex has already crawled for metadata on online resources. We can see reviews for this movie, we can find the cast, director, quality of the picture and a description of the movie. We have details on the casting, as well as reviews from third-party websites, trailers found online, music albums and more. Remember, some of this is only accessible with a Plex Premium Pass. And again, all this information can be refreshed very, very easily. If we click the three dots here, we can look online and refresh metadata or change some of the sources where we get a lot of this information. Alternatively, if we head back into that main menu here on the side, we can click the three dots and either refresh the whole library for images or manage library and add new sources to find more information, such as if we have multiple directories with movies, we can add multiple directories to the Films tab. And again, if we go into the Film tab here, we can look at a couple of last options that may be very important to most Plex Media Server users and their QNAP NAS. Select the three dots next to your NAS. From here, select Manage Server and then select Settings. This will allow you to do several things. First and foremost, what you want to do is have a look at the transcoder option. Transcoding is when files are changed on the fly by the NAS to be better suited to the connected device. So for example, if the media on your NAS is all 1080p and 4K quality, all real dense media types, and you plan on watching it on an old 2015 Android mobile, chances are you're not going to need to watch this 4K file, and you can have that file downsized significantly in order for it to run better on your device or utilize much lower bandwidth. If you're utilizing a low internet connection or just a busy bandwidth in general, it's advised to take advantage of transcoding. In this option here, we're able to set transcoding to be automatic and the height of how much of the system resources will be used when transcoding. Bear in mind, you will need a Plex paid pass in order to make the most of this feature. Finally, if you don't intend to access your Plex Media server remotely and want to do all of the access with it on your local area network and therefore not worry too much about the size of files, scroll down to the option marked DLNA. This allows you to enable the Plex server as a DLNA media server, allowing you to access its contents more easily outside of Plex, locally on your devices. There's further tabs of things you can change, as well as its identity and more on the network, but a lot of these are a little bit more technical. And if you want to change any of the libraries you've created so far, scroll to the bottom and select Libraries, which will allow you to add further libraries, merge existing libraries, or add further resources and different indexed folders to your library. And you can always rescan at any time in case you've added files and the system hasn't quite picked it up yet. When you're ready, go ahead and click the Home button at the top to make your way back to that original screen. And remember, if you want to go into your NAS, just click the NAS or select the individual parameters there as more media is found and the metadata is being scraped. But this has been how to set up and install Plex Media Server on your QTS5 QNAP NAS easily and right the very first time. If you want to learn more, do visit the links in the description, as well as take advantage of the free advice section over on NAS Compares. It's manned by two humans, me and Eddie the web guy, and we're there available to answer all of your questions, queries and requests on choosing the right data storage solution or helping you with your network. Do bear in mind, we're two humans, we don't do anything with your email, and it's a free service. We have lives, so we may take an extra day or so to answer your inquiry, but we answer every one. Again, if you've enjoyed this, click like, it helps me understand what I'm doing right, and click subscribe and the bell to be notified with more videos in this series, both on Plex and QTS. But otherwise, I will see you next time.